I'm Katie Clash, also known as Morgan J. Today is the 25th day of collecting year 26, and apparently the trick-or-treat event on Neopets is live as of at least right now, because when I went to go to the health food store today, I found a dead chia trick-or-treat bag. So yeah, I thought I would go ahead and do this event on video. Check your inventory to admire your loot. You find a book along with a bag. This crumbled up piece of paper has a note from Reginald, and Reginald is Sophie's, I believe, older brother from the Tale of Woe plot. I think he's younger than Bruno. This crumbled up piece of paper has a note from Reginald attached. I'm honestly not sure what to take from this, but it haunts me. And it seems to be kind of like a picture made out of text. Oh, that brings me back to the olden days of the internet. It seems to be a table with something on top of it, maybe an egg. Return. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and go to Jelly Neo to find the other ones. Tyrannian weaponry. I think I accidentally zoomed in instead of opening a new tab there. You have received Lonnie and Lily trick-or-treat bag. So they are, I think, the faction leaders of the Awakened in that battle, like the battleground of the obelisk thing. Check your inventory to admire your loot. You find a book along with the bag. Stapled together are many documents labeled Neighborhood Watch Incident Report. Most of the papers are covered in an odd red substance, making it hard to read a lot of them. Oh, odd red substance. Is that a hint at blood? Or is it going to be like jelly? Because, wait, actually, we all know Jelly World totally doesn't exist. So, it can't be jelly. Log 1, date, 23rd day of hunting, year 14. I think hunting is May, right? Location, Park in Neovia. Description of incident. Those rotten twins have been a blight on this neighborhood since they were born. Their mother won't do a thing. Wait, year 14? That's like 2012. So that's May 23rd, 2012. Those rotten twins have been a blight on this neighborhood since they were born. Their mother won't do a thing to reprimand them, so I suppose it is up to me to document their heinous actions in the hopes of compiling enough evidence that the sheriff will actually do something about them for once. This will be one of many reports, I'm sure. Lonnie and Lily have somehow obtained many of the local children's favorite toys and strung them up among the trees in the park. I caught them laughing and dancing as the other kids tried climbing the trees to retrieve them. When pressed as to why they did this, all they said was they were the decorations for the party. What horrible children indeed! Yeah, they actually do sound like really awful children, like they're stealing other people's toys. Like, what the heck? Okay, log 22, 14th day of relaxing, year 14. I believe that's June, so 14th of June, 2012. Location, Wilberforce's residence. I'm not actually sure who Wilberforce is. A description of incident. The rotten twins have really outdone themselves. They noticed me watching them from my house and actually approached me directly, then threatened me. They said I should be their babysitter if I wanted to watch them so badly, and they could show me why the last one had disappeared. Then they skipped away, singing about how babysitters make the perfect cakes for their parties. What? It was, of course, vague enough that if I reported it, nothing would happen. Now that their mother is busy with the littlest rotten, I fear what new horrors they will get up to. Not like she would have been much help to begin with. I can only hope that new boy of hers doesn't grow up to be as horrible as his sisters. So basically what's implied there is that they bake people into cakes? Cannibalism much? Log 38, day 6th day of swimming, year 14. So that is July 6, 2012. Location, Rotten's residence. Description of incident. So, are Lainey and Lily's last name Rotten or something? For the past few days, I've started noticing a pattern. The Rotten twins have been helping their mother with her flower beds in the front of the house, and since then, their hydrangea bushes have grown rapidly. Alongside this new occurrence, there has also been a steady stream of new missing pet posters appearing throughout the neighborhood. Are they composting with dead pets? What really turned my stomach was hearing them say how lovely the flowers would be for a party. Their brother at least appeared as disturbed as me. He's just a baby, so I may be projecting. What I'm most worried about is that next week is their birthday. I'm afraid of what they are going to do. So basically, what's implied is that they bake people into cakes, they steal people's toys, and then they turn pets into compost. What the heck? Log 43, date 13th day of swimming, year 14. So that is the 13th of July, 2012. Location, Rotten's residence. Description of incidents. I don't know why I'm writing this one. The police already know, but I still can't believe what happened. Their obsession with parties was always strange, and I figured their birthday party would be morbid, but I never could have guessed that they had planned something like this. I can still hear that wretched music as they sang. I suppose it doesn't matter anymore. They're gone, and they aren't coming back. The whole family was indeed rotten to the core. Good riddance. Well, they're the head of the Awakened faction, so yeah, they came back as zombies. Log 44, date 11th day of sleeping, year 15. I think sleeping is January, if I remember right. So that would be the 11th of January, 2013. Location, Wilberforce's residence. Description of incident. This can't be happening. I hear it again. I hear them singing and laughing all around my house. It started out of the blue a few weeks ago, but no one believes me. But I saw them this time. They were at my window, smiling and staring. They wanted in. They wanted me. I have to get out of... And then it cuts off. So the implication there is that this person got eaten by Lonnie and Lily, or zombified or attacked or something. A fairy weapon shop is the next one, I think. Okay. You have received Fairy Artificer Trick-or-Treat Bag. I can't really... Is that supposed to be a fairy there? Because it doesn't really look like a fairy. It's all gray. It looks more like Vera to me. Check your inventory to admire your loot. You find a book along with the bag. Someone crumbled up this tear-stained note and concealed it inside a hidden compartment disguised as a brick on a fairyland castle balcony. I thought I saw you last night, lounging in the courtyard where we used to sit together, charting grand futures. For a moonbeam-dappled moment, I could have sworn you called for me from the shadows, as if you had been waiting all this time for us to pick up where we left off. Then the clouds parted. The grass lay empty while a dead silence evidenced that even the wind sought to abandon me, and the moon illuminated the fact that I was still alone, an eternal rarity I accepted when first lifting the crown. I thought I saw you last night, alone in the library, perusing the mustiest tome you could find, perched on the corner of those stiff chairs you could never seem to sit still on, provoking stifled memories to rupture their restraints and abscond to the forefront of my mind. Then the shadows faded, memories of simpler times twisted into fragmented phantasms of the past, slipping away, leaving me nostalgic for your irksome fidgeting, your rambling yet fervent tangents, and sobbing into the arms of a deeply perplexed Seshatia. I think that's the library fairy, but I have no clue how to pronounce her name. Seshatia? Sasashia? I thought I saw you last night, propped against the throne, twiddling your curved locks, the same spot where you counseled me through the darkest of times, never shying away from even the most contentious of conversations. Then a gentle zephyr roused my wandering mind, stirring me from my conceited daydream. The tender breeze wished to remind me that you had always closed the windows before dark. I thought I saw us last night, arguing in the reflection of the rainbow fountain. When I faltered, you were never afraid to share your every thought, until our quarrels reached a crescendo, and an insurmountable distance grew between us. Then I looked up across the water to see a younger fairy shouting in our place. I witnessed earth and shadow parting before me. Okay, I think that's Illusion and Jadora. History revolves as they turn their backs on one another. I thought I saw you last night, or at least that intrigued gleam of yours, reflected in the eyes of a gifted young sorceress. She acted as you did in those days, lighting up at new discoveries, unable to let go of the past. Once more, I found myself lacking, unable to balance duty and friendship. Are we sure this is friendship? This sounds kind of like you have a very strong attachment to the other character in the poem. Like, this sounds like it could be like unrequited love. Then I woke to a stone cold realization. Okay, the stone cold makes me think Exandra. The years had worn away my convictions, driven me to clutch secrets tight to my chest. How could either of you truly be to blame for your missteps when your leader failed to guide you down the right path? Okay, I think this is from Fiora's perspective, because the mention earlier on of an eternal verity I accepted when first lifting the crown. That sounds like it's in reference to a ruler. And then the mention of when your leader failed to guide you down the right path. I think this is a poem from Fiora's perspective. I thought I saw you last night. Then I remembered, because of me, there's nothing left of you. Oh my. Like, I think this is about Exandra. Because of the whole, okay, then I woke to a stone cold realization. Just makes me think of her. Because of me, there's nothing left of you. I don't know. I am leaning towards it's probably either Exandra or the Darkest Fairy, because I think those are two characters that have been turned to stone at different points in Neopia's past. So either the Darkest Fairy or maybe Exandra. I think Exandra almost, because the shadows faded, memories of simpler times twisting into fragmented phantasms of the past slipping away, leaving me nostalgic for your irksome fidgeting, your rambling at fervent tangents, and sobbing into the arms of a deeply perplexed Sasashia? I'm sorry. English is hard. English spellings are hard. But I think that's Exandra, because Exandra, I think, always used to hang out in the library. And so if she's talking to the library fairy, if she's seeking out the library fairy for comfort, it could be Exandra, because Exandra used to hang out in the libraries a lot, I think. I think of her as being a scholar who felt betrayed by Fiora, who wanted, I don't know, I admire Exandra immensely. I remember when the plots first started, I absolutely freaking hated her. But then when it turned out that she just wanted to liberate Neopia, I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, girl, yes, yes. So anyways, I adore Exandra. And I think that this poem is about Exandra told from the perspective of Fiora. Okay. So anyways, I fangirl Exandra. Okay, I'm going to go on to the next one, which was at Rue Island Souvenirs. You have received Count Von Rue trick-or-treat bag 2. Check your inventory to admire your loot. You find a book along with the bag. This letter has shaky handwriting, and the yellowing parchment indicates it must be very old. There's nothing else on it, though, to indicate who wrote it. My parents always warned me to keep my windows closed at night. I was a good kid. I listened to everything else they had to say. But I loved the feeling of a breeze as I fell asleep, so sometimes I would open a window or two after they came to check on me for the night. I'd give anything to feel a breeze again. Master Von Rue has admitted he didn't mean to turn me. I was just supposed to be a convenient snack. That's why I woke alone the next morning, knowing nothing but that I felt different. Hungry. I wept as monstrous nails jutted from my hands, and my teeth shifted painfully around. My parents, they heard my wails and ran to help me. I wasn't hungry after that. Oh my gosh! So this new vampire snacked on their parents? Whoops. Ever since then, I have followed him. To his credit, he did not force me to. In fact, he got upset when I would not leave, but I had nowhere else to go, so follow him I did, and have for a long time now, trekking far from my home within the haunted woods. But Von Rue resides on Rue Island. Trekking far from my home within the haunted woods, I have now seen most of the world. I've seen its sorrow and its beauty and its horror. Master is not evil, but he is not good. He does whatever pleases him in the moment. He jokes amongst patrons at taverns, sings ancient tunes alongside traveling musicians, and passes out coins to village children. Yet, I've also watched as he's passed by those in desperate need of help, turned others into turned others into monsters without care, and destroyed whole lives when he hungers. I wonder if I will do such things one day. Will I lose myself as he has? I mean, you already ate your parents, so yes. I'd like to think I've been a good kid and kept to my parents' teachings since I began following him. I have fed, but only to survive. No more lives have been taken or twisted such as mine. But there are the tasks. When the master remembers that I am here, he will sometimes send me away on tasks. Most of them seem to be him toying with me. At first, I thought he was serious, but the more I do, the more I think he's just trying to see what levels of depravity he can send me down. This is why I write this, for I think this is the last task he will ever ask of me. When we arrived in his homeland, he stopped me from following. So when we arrived in Rue Island, he said he was staying and that I could not. He told me he was interested in seeing what I would become, but for that to happen, much more time needed to pass me by. I have been tasked to wander as he has, to never know familiarity. I think he wants me to become like him. He wants me to become a monster. If I do, someone please send me to see my mom and dad. That's so poetic! That's so poetic! That is such good writing. Oh my gosh, that is such good writing, and I love how subtly it just captures that fear of turning into what you most fear becoming. Like, it's so subtle, but it's so terrifying. Sorry, my headphones died there for a second. But it's so terrifying. Like this, it's just a fear of you have this idea of things that are important to you, who you are as a human, who you are as an individual, and it's terrifying. The fear of losing that, turning into something that is the antithesis of who you are on the inside. Like, that's an absolutely terrifying fear. That's, I'd say, why I'm so afraid of zombies. But yeah, it's so terrifying. And I love how subtle the horror is, just how subtle it is, where which part is it? I wept as monstrous nails jutted from my hands and my teeth shifted painfully around. My parents, they heard my wails and ran to help me. I wasn't hungry after that. And then if I do, someone please send me to see my mom and dad. Like, that's just so beautiful. That's just such beautiful writing. Like, this is a wonderful short story. This captures like a lot of, it captures a lot in very few words. Like, this is an excellent, complete short story. I love it. This is beautiful. It explores many deep ideas. I love how subtly it just has, it takes parts that were earlier within the story and includes them at the end. It just feels very complete and compact and a complete story. And I love too how I think it manages to capture horror without being gory, without being over the top. It captures some very gruesome things in a way that is not gratuitous at all. Like, it's beautifully written. It's beautiful writing. Whoever wrote this, like, you deserve praise. This is really good writing. Okay, the Neopian health foods one was, oh, I guess I closed that. But that was the one with the image. Chester Drawers Antiques is next. You have received Amber trick-or-treat bag. Check your inventory to admire your loot. You find a book along with the bag. This handwritten book is labeled Amber's Items Log. Many of the entries are smudged and unreadable. Notes are scribbled throughout the margins that seem to have been added later. Item number 52, exotic plant, often sought out by flora enthusiasts who wish to have a showpiece in their collection, but don't want to deal with the hassle of getting it the correct way. This can't be what they are after. Item number 75, superior reflection shield. Despite being a shield, these have a tendency to break during transport, but that's a great excuse to up the price. This could be useful if they find me, whoever they are. Item number 91, Staff of Nova, usually mistaken for its more powerful look-alike. The Staff of Supernova? Always ask for cash up front when dealing with these. Clients aren't always the happiest upon delivery. Maybe a disgruntled client is doing this. Item number 124, Evil Eye Ring. Not many traders not many trade in objects like this for a reason, but beggars can't be choosers. Just be careful not to look directly at it. Why is this happening to me? There have been 3 attempts so far. I don't know how to stop this. Item number 132, Queen Fiora stamp. Hard to get, but easy to sell. Keeping too many around can be risky, though. Best to keep them hidden in the attic. No one knows where my stash is. I should hide there. Item number 159, Croc. Don't particularly like dealing in pet transportation. So basically, this sounds like smuggling animals, but these guys often catch a hefty price. If one of these grew to have a vendetta, I may be up here for a while. Because if you have a Croc pet attached to your Neopet, and I think it has to have a unique name or something, and you also have to have like a pet slot available, and you take it to the fungus caves, I think on Croc Island. That is how you would use to be able to get a Croc, like create a Croc. But I think anymore it's just easier to use like, what is it, morphing potions or whatever. If one of these grew to have a vendetta, I may be up here for a while. Item number 172, Floud Bomb. Don't trade in explosives anymore. I still have regrets about this one. Item number 193, Golden Piofin Harp. There are not many asks for stuff like this. It's a nice break from the other requests that come through. The longer I'm in here, the creepier all this stuff becomes. I swear I could hear one of these instruments playing music for a moment. Item 224, Blade of the Battle Fairy. This one may have been a mistake to take. The client was happy, but now the fairies are on high alert. It will be hard to move things in and out of fairyland for a while. I remember this. Could a fairy really be coming for me after all this time? Item number 257, Tablet of Horrific Curses. Items like this are some of the most requested items, yet the price for handling these is always high, both metaphorically and literally. I wish I had never gotten into this forsaken business. Sorry, my nose is fucking me today. Ugh, it's fall. Allergies are bad for me this time of year. Item number 289, Freezing Potion. Be wary of anyone purchasing this under the table. Make sure to package it in a way the buyer can't open it right away. I've been up here so long. Maybe this is all in my head. Maybe I can just get rid of all this junk and start over. Item number 333, Sword of the Dead. Is that an anagram sword normally? Both the dead and the living can handle this. Personally, not the most useful, but it doubles my clientele base. I think I heard something downstairs. This place has looked abandoned for years. How could anyone know that I'm here? So, someone's about to get attacked. I guess, dealer or shopkeeper. Someone who might be doing things on the black market. I wonder if they're associated with the Thieves Guild. Okay, Witch's Tower. Okay, this is Edna's tower. You have received Hubert Knox trick-or-treat bag. Check your inventory to admire your loot. You find a bag along with the bag. Sorry, you find a book along with the bag. The stack of paper seems to be a rough draft of a manuscript. A lot of pages are missing, and many things seem to have been erased or scribbled out. When I heard he was gone, I was angry at myself. Angry that my first thought wasn't one of joy. He was a terrible... Oh, this is told from the perspective of that walkie, I think, about Hubert Knox, right? The Megax, right? When I heard he was gone, I was angry at myself. Angry that my first thought wasn't one of joy. He was a terrible man, and the fact he is dead means the world is better off, right? And yet, my first thought was a selfish one. If he is gone... what happens to me? How can I atone now? Perhaps through this book, I can start to work through these thoughts and bare my soul to the world. They can decide who I am. I know to atone, I must lay bare my misdeeds, but I can't yet. I suppose I still haven't come to terms with what I've done. Even if it was he who made me do them, all I could manage to do was fight him over and over again. I should have done more, but he needed to be stopped. His plans always seemed comical at first, things that seemed like they could never work. Destroy the world by turning all of the potatoes into fries. Take over everything by creating a popular musical that subconsciously brainwashed everyone who heard it into doing his bidding. Set fire to the sun, blah, blah, blah. But the more I was forced to do his bidding, the more I saw how his mind worked and how he hid his true power and intentions behind absurd ramblings. Once free of his control, I thought my first step had to be pursuing him. Back then, I thought it was for justice, but perhaps it was just for revenge. Either way, I wasn't the one who stopped him. I have done nothing. Didn't he die during the fairy's ruin? I've been wandering his old stomping grounds. He may not be around anymore, but that doesn't mean he hasn't left some terrible plan behind. Perhaps this is actually all part of his bigger plan. Something strange is going on in his castle. At night, I hear movement in the halls, but when I go to investigate, I find nothing. Many of the rooms I've wandered before are locked, yet when I break in, no one is there. I've been on my own for a while now. No one has really come around. The few who have said I should leave here. The few who have said I should leave here. I know I need to. I need to find other ways to help those I've hurt. But if I leave now, what will this all have been for? His painting in the grand entrance seems as though its eyes follow me. He is still watching me, tormenting me. It's only a matter of time before he returns. When he lived, he could summon ghosts to do his bidding, so it makes sense that he could summon himself upon his death. Right? There have been more and more ghost sightings in the old graveyard. There's never been this many. It has to be him. I know he is here. I see him floating just out of the corner of my eye. He's there one moment and gone the next. There in the trees, in the tombstones, in the ground, but not in the ground. He is here. He is after me. He is haunting me. He must be stopped. It is my duty to stop him. If I stop him, I can move on. What's not clear to me is Megax, like, in some sort of undead state, or is he alive? Like, I know that this is being told through the perspective of Megax, who is a walkie who is in the game Megax the Destroyer, where he's trying to stop Hybrid Nox, but I don't really remember much about Megax's personal backstory. Okay, and I think the last one I need to get is Terra Mountain coloring pages. You have received Bringer of the Night trick-or-treat bag. Oh, isn't he from the Hannah and the Ice Caves plot? Check your inventory to admire your loot bag. You find a book along with the bag. This book is labeled Beware the Bringer of Night and seems to have been read many times as the cover and pages are well worn and starting to fall apart. He has been called many things: demigod, deathbringer, demon. All of these are true to some degree, and no one would know this more than those he has had under his thumb. His reasonings are unclear, but he has terrorized countless by decreeing himself their ruler. It does not matter if they are already ruled by another. Once he has his eyes on ruling, he destroys all he must to secure his crown. There are many contradicting stories about why he does what he does. Some say he does this simply because he can. Others claim to have proof that he has no control over his actions, while others still quietly ruminate that it is his apparent lack of full godhood that compels him to throw his weight around. No matter the case, there have been very few who even dare try to oppose him. Those who do often do not return home in their entirety. Many calamities have been accredited to him over the years. He has roamed these lands. It said he was shaking the earth to bury the old lands, or he was the cause behind a giant cloud of ash that choked out the sky. He was even accredited for stirring the ocean to create a whirlpool big enough to swallow a land right off the map. These atrocities and more may not be confirmed. Still, it is often thought that he first started his rampage among those in the Lost Desert long before it was even known by that name. It was so long ago now that it is hard to know how he came to be, but once he was, there was no stopping him. His greed was so great that it corrupted all those around him. They say he turned them into nothing more than servants to bring him grand fortunes. He would bleed the people dry of all their land's wealth. Then, when there was nothing more to gain, his anger would become so great that he would obliterate all in his way until he came upon a new, unsuspecting corner of the world to impoverish. It is thought that that must be how he was the one to drive the Borees so deep into the mountain that they were forgotten by the rest of the world. He had wiped the world of all its jewels, so he drove us to the brink of extinction to get to the only remaining treasure, the heart of our people. He had destroyed us just as he had destroyed the world around us, but not even a power as hot as his can burn forever. You see, We also had power, and while we could not extinguish his flame, it was enough to show those he stepped upon that they could stand up to him. In the end, we had to hide, but the very first of his victims, those of the lost desert of their time, managed to bring down this mighty foe. The story goes that they marched into battle with a mighty military cadence and were somehow able to dull the will of the beast. They never told a soul how they managed this tremendous feat, but due to this, they were able to beat back the monster who had enslaved them for so long and ensnare him in a prison of his own, guarded by a powerful curse, yet a demon can abide his time for eternity. Once again, this foul entity was set free upon our people, and if not for the brave actions of a few, I think didn't the Thieves Guild team up with them? We would not be here today. This is why, dear children, you must tread carefully, for even though he has seemingly been defeated for good, he has returned from the dead once already, and you never know if he will return again. So yeah, I think that is all the little goodie bags this year. I'm not really sure what the one in the health food store actually meant, but all the others seem to be cute little short stories. So thank you so much for listening to me read you these, and have a happy month of collecting and happy spooky season. Bye!